thanks for coming to everyone. Maybe first we should have a vote. Who wants to hear the talk? Because if everyone's just here taking pictures, it's much easier for me. No, I'm just joking. I'm trying to do this real quick. I only have 8 slides, and it's not a lot of information. I try to have less information and maybe more inspiration. So actually, it's only 8 slides, and it's just some like basic thoughts about veganism and about the reasons why people go vegan, and actually the reasons for being vegan and stuff like that. And well, what I really want to do is just inspire some basic thoughts in everyone. First of all, I want to ask you for pardon me for my bad English, actually, because it's like I have to use some basic language sometimes, because English is not my first language, so it's not like. Normally in German I'm speaking a little bit more complex, and in English I try to find easier words for everything. So excuse me for that. And but maybe on the other hand, it's maybe not that boring if it's not too complex. So just try to see it positively. Okay. I assume everyone knows who I am and what I do, is that right? Or should I tell anything about, like, just a few words? I'm a strength athlete. I'm doing strength training for now more than 20 years. I began with strength training when I was 14 years old, and I'm now 35. So 2 decades of strength sports, and I'm vegan for 3 years now. And before that I was vegetarian for 6 years. So, and that's actually what we want to talk about today. So why does a strength athlete go vegan, and why does he go vegetarian, and what's like the deeper meaning behind it? First of all, I would like to ask how many vegans are here? Okay, a lot of vegans. Okay, and the vegetarians? Okay, and none of both? Okay, cool. Nice to have you here. Actually, I like to have more of you people in the talks, because you're actually my targets. You're the ones who I try to get the information to, and try to get maybe in the best case try to inspire a little bit to like go beyond what yeah. Just let's say just inspire. Okay. Yeah. Then I would say, yeah, the basic question, that I would like to think about with you today is what would happen if everyone in the world would go vegan. That would be a terrible place, wouldn't it? No, I don't think so. I think it would maybe be a quite a nice place. So. Yeah, that's a stupid question for a crowd which is like 90% vegan, but first to set everything up, what does vegan mean? Actually, the word was, as much as I know, invented by Donald Watson, who is the founder of the Vegan Society in 1944. And it's basically like, if you want to have a definition, you would basically say that you're trying to get away from animal products and from the use of animals in every aspect of your life. So it's not only it's not a diet thing. It's not like okay, I'm not eating cheese and I'm not eating meat and stuff anymore. So but it's more about not using animals as slaves or anything in all aspects of your behavior. And if you think more about diet and about nutrition, you could also say it's a plant-based lifestyle. So although that's scientifically it's not perfectly true, because you're not eating, like when you're eating, you're not only eating plants, but you're only, also eating like fungi. Yeah, and maybe also some bacteria and stuff. So it's, but it's basically plant-based lifestyle. So yeah, the one question that I get asked a lot is why I did it. Actually, why did I went vegan? Because the thing is, for most non-vegan people, it is quite hard to imagine why a strength athlete would go vegan, because they have this stereotype of a strength athlete being someone who eats like tons of meat every day and yeah, just a plain predator. And I have actually never been like that. I have eaten normal diet for the biggest part of my life, but I have never been a big meat eater in aspects of that I had loved, that I had a special preference for eating meat. Like when I was a child, I even it was even quite hard to get me eating meat at all, because I just didn't like it. What I really did like was dairy products. I was pretty much addicted to dairy, to all kinds of dairy, especially milk and cacao and stuff like that, like chocolate milk. And so for me, going vegetarian, which I did almost 10 years ago, was quite an easy thing, because I didn't like meat, so it was not a big sacrifice, so to say, so that was no problem. But when I went further and I found out, okay, that if you went vegetarian because of like ethical aspects, that it's maybe not enough to just like cut out meat from your diet, because if you find out what happens in the production of eggs and what happens in the dairy industry, you just find out that it's just not enough to do that first step. So my problem was that this first step was really no big issue for me, but the second step took me like six years to get me there. And the main reason I went vegan at the end was just because 2011 I was still vegetarian on that in that year. I gained the title of Germany's Strongest Man, and after gaining that title, I was like in the newspapers and in the media in Germany, everywhere, like in all big newspapers, because the headline was always, "I'm only eating veggies and I'm Germany's strongest man," because that's pretty much the antithesis of the stereotype of a vegetarian, like someone who is only eating salad and someone who is not able to be strong or anything. So that was a great chance for me to inspire people and to get some information about veganism, and at that stage about vegetarianism to people. So I was able to inform the public about the non-existence of a correlation between eating meat and being strong. So I was doing a lot of work in that direction. But what I found out then was having this big media appearances and all that media coverage gave me the power to really like change something in society in Germany. So a lot of I was getting a lot of feedback from people saying, "Oh, I'm so inspired by you and this and that, and I changed my life." And even a butcher gave me a message and said, "After seeing you in TV, I'm thinking about what I did all my life and until this point." And actually, he stopped being a butcher and was looking for another job, and he got another job and got even vegetarian after that. So it was really cool, but at the same time, it brought me to some issues with myself, because at that point I knew already that being vegetarian was not enough. So I was inspiring people for something that I thought is not enough actually, and I thought, okay, if I don't do it now, I'm actually really doing some harm to the potential that is giving in my hands. So that was the stage when I said, okay, I think it's going to be really hard being vegan, and I have this addiction to dairy products, and I'm really fearing that it's going to first cause me some issues with my protein intake, and maybe I'm going to get deficient, and also I think it's going to be a problem because I'm addicted to milk, but I'm still going to do it because I think it's the right thing. So I went vegan, and to my surprise and to my shock, it was easy. The addiction just went away after some weeks, and I even gained weight, and I gained in strength. So the opposite of what I was thinking happened, and that was the moment where I said, okay, now it's really, really crucial for me to go on and inform people about my own experiences with that step, because none of the things that I thought would happen happened, and I realized that if I'm not going to go out there and tell people that you can be really big and strong and everything, having a plant-based lifestyle, there is maybe no one in the world who is as convincing as I was, because at that point I was like the vegan with the highest profile in strength sports, so it was a perfect combination to like get some buzz going on. Yeah, and so that's what I do for 3 years now. And yeah, but let's go beyond that point, because I have been talking last year when I was here a lot about my own experiences and so on. So what I want to do this year is I want to go one step further and look at what would actually happen if everyone would experience all that things that we are experiencing after going vegan. What would happen if we could really have a vegan society? So. Yeah, just a few things before we go to that point. What actually happened for me physically was when I was vegetarian, I was iron deficient, and everyone in my surrounding was saying, okay, you're iron deficient because you're not eating meat, and meat is a great source for iron. So that was one of the problems when I was arguing with people and when I was discussing vegetarianism with people. And another thing was I was over-acidized all the time. So, and what I experienced was when I was drinking like a glass of cow milk, it helped with the acid in my stomach. And what I actually didn't realize was that the milk was helping in the short distance, in the short term, but in the long term, the dairy products were actually causing the problem, all the acid. So what happened when I went vegan was the iron deficiency went away. I even didn't have to supplement iron, nothing. It just went away because the dairy products were the problem. They were inhibiting the iron intake. It was not that I needed to eat meat. And the second thing was the over-acidized thing went away. So my metabolism got much better, and I just felt great. But what was really important for me was it changed something mentally. Like when I was eating before I went vegan, even when I was vegetarian, eating was just the intake of calories, and it was just like something that you have to do to survive. But after going vegan, I felt like I was really in line with what my belief system was. Like, because all of my life I have believed that all animals are, no animal and also not humans are worth more than other animals. So this belief system and this ideology would implement that you would have a behavior towards animals just the same way that you would behave towards your fellow humans. So you wouldn't eat your friends, right? So to say it really in easy words, you wouldn't eat your friends. And I was thinking that animals are my friends, and so my eating behavior was not in line with my belief system. And after going vegan, I felt it was in line with my belief system, and that really changed something in my whole, in the whole experience of eating. Like when you are sitting at the table and you're eating a vegan meal, it was just like, yeah, being so much in line with myself. Actually, that's pretty much it. Also, if someone has a question or something, just raise your hands or anything. I don't want it too much to get like. Actually, normally I like to have a conversation, but it's really hard with such a little people. So I try to get through this quite fast, so we can then have questions and answers. So okay, what I try to establish now is now we go one step further and we think about veganism and the society and actualism. Too much isms today. Actually, I think about veganism as a part of a paradigm shift because what I tried to explain in the slide before was when I talked about what I experienced mentally was a paradigm shift in the way you see the world and in the way you behave according to that worldview. And if you now try to incorporate that for the whole society or for a culture, I try to have a model of what I think about veganism could, like, as a puzzle piece, be in the bigger context of just the evolution of mankind or the evolution of cultures. And there are several stages. I try to, like, I'm trying to use the model of a timeline to have like an analogy to the whole thing. And if you look on mankind in a timeline and you see how we develop and how we go further, you see something that our ancestors, when you go several thousand years back from now, you see they were having cultures where they had like human sacrifices. Like they were sacrificing their fellow humans to please their gods. And the Jews were brought in in the region where they lived. They brought in a new belief system which said it is not okay to sacrifice your fellow humans, and that was already one step. Like in their regional context, it was one step towards a more pacifistic society, a more peaceful society, because people were not killing each other anymore for a higher being or for a higher spiritual entity or anything. So that was the first step. The bad thing about the whole thing was they stopped sacrificing humans and started or went on with sacrificing animals. So they said, okay, now we don't kill humans, but we can kill cows and sheep and anything. So for most of the inhabitants on this planet, this one step didn't actually bring a lot of peace. So it brought a little bit of peace to the humans with each other, but it was not the final solution. Another problem in the belief systems of the Jews in that time was that they were thinking a little bit in terms of if someone is sick, if someone has, I don't know, is blind or has any misfortunes, that someone is just punished by God. So if you see someone in the street who is suffering, you can just say, okay, that's God's work, and that must be because this is a bad man or anything, and I don't have to care about that. And someone who changed that, or I don't know if you like, I just have to say, I talk about Jews, I talk about Jesus and Buddha, but I maybe have to say I'm totally not religious. I'm an agnostic, so I don't know if there is any higher being, but I'm just trying to use those things as markers in the development of humanity. So what Jesus brought in was another aspect, the aspect of compassion towards those who are suffering. That was something new, actually, in that time. And he said, okay, when someone is suffering, that's not because this person is a bad person and God is punishing the person, but you should have compassion towards that person. So that was another big step, actually, to have compassion with someone who is not in your family, with someone who is totally, who you don't know, but still, most of the inhabitants of this planet didn't have any benefit from that, because that compassion, like if you see what's written in the Bible and so on, compassion when it comes from Jesus is always towards humans. So it's still getting better for humans within each other, but it's still really bad for the animals because we can still eat them. So if you look at the Buddhism, you find something that's a big step, big step further on that timeline, because actually now compassion becomes something which isn't exclusive to humanity, but which, if you do it right, you should incorporate to the whole world. Like even the non-living world. Like you could be compassionate to, I don't know, even things, even a stone or something. But everyone knows, or let's say it's common sense, that compassion makes maybe a little bit more sense towards sentient beings. So beings that are able to feel pain and are able to suffer. So that was now a big step, or let's say this shift, paradigm shift, is a big step for most of the inhabitants on Earth, because the problem with the whole thing is humanity is now, and was on that stage already, the mightiest species on Earth. And it's really good if the mightiest species on Earth is compassionate towards all that other species. Because the thing is, I try to see humanity as, if you talk about the king in the animal kingdom, and a lot of people would say like lions are the king of the animal kingdom. That's total bullshit, because the king of the animal kingdom is the human. We are the mightiest and we are the real kings of this world. And having that might and having all that power on the rest of the world comes in with a lot of responsibility. So compassion to other sentient beings was a real big step. So what did we do after that? In the last few hundred years, we got rid of slavery. So that means we are not only not killing each other for God or anything, but we are accepting the fact that we all have equal rights. So that's where human rights get involved, and that we should treat one another in a dignified way. So we should treat each other well. But that's still, for me, only one further step on the development of the actual towards that actual goal, and that actual goal would mean compassion towards everything which is sentient. So we still, the stage we are now is we are accepting that there is something like human rights, and the thing is, human rights are not something that is in biology or in physics or anything, but human rights are a human idea. So what human rights are actually are is that we say we want to live in a world where we are treating each other in a certain way. So a lot of people in the world do another paradigm shift now and say, okay, if we are compassionate with animals, if we are compassionate with other sentient beings, that means that we should also have something like human rights for them, which is animal rights. And the funny thing about it is, when the anti-slavery movement began, people were thinking, okay, these are some freaks and some idiots. We need slaves to go on with the type of industry we have and everything. We just need them to function as a society. And that's the same thing which happens at the moment to people who are advocating animal rights. We are, by the society, by the mainstream, we are seen as a little bit, I don't know, maybe out of reality or stupid or anything. But actually, that's just a sign of the way which we are a little bit further than our fellow members of the society. So we shouldn't let ourselves get stopped by that fact that we are looked at as a little bit weird. And actually the next step that has to happen is in the hands of every one of you. So if we want to really have that world where we are treating everything which is capable of suffering in a dignified way, that's something that all of you have to incorporate, because we have actually inherited a world where slavery is history. We have inherited a world where human rights are in most states and in most big like in big parts of the world, they are already accepted, and our task now is to go that next step and get this to all sentient beings. That's something I believe. So to put this idea that I expressed now in a little bit more elaborate words, I'd like to quote Einstein, because I think he really hit the nail with something that he said, which I want just to, I don't know, is it readable back there? I read it. So what Einstein said was, a human being is part of the whole called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. His delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us. So what he says is that we are experiencing ourselves as apart from the whole universe, and that causes that we are practicing compassion only to our family, only to those who are near to us, but not to the whole world and not to other species. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and to the whole of nature and its beauty. So not only the animals, but also the plants and everything, the whole nature, so our environment. Compassion should include all of that. Nobody is able to achieve this completely. So that's something really crucial for me, because I met a lot of people who went vegan, and after that, they, I think they develop something like a self-hatred, because they feel, oh, I have done so bad things all of my life. And they project that self-hatred on other people, and they're like pointing fingers on them. I don't think that's a good way. So nobody's perfect. I think we should keep that in mind. Nobody is able to achieve this completely, but the strive for such achievement in itself as a part of liberation and a foundation for inner security. So what actually counts is that we are doing the next step towards a world where we have compassion towards all sentient beings, animals, plants, and nature. And the final thing, which I want you to think about is it a coincidence that the word compassion includes the word compass? So I think compassion is pretty much something that leads us the way to a better world. So go vegan. Okay, thank you. We can have questions and answers now, and afterwards we can take pictures and everything. Is there any questions? The t-shirts, you can get the t-shirts on my boot. It's just, if you could jump that high, you would just land on the boot. It's just here. Any non-t-shirt related questions? Yeah, so the question is how much raw food I have in my own diet. The thing is, I have a lot of raw food in form of smoothies because I just simply love them. And but the problem is that I'm like a big fan of baked stuff and everything, so I can't imagine to go completely raw. That's pretty much in something impossible for me to think of, but I try to really incorporate a lot of raw food in form of smoothies and stuff like that. Maybe 40% or something. Which I did recommend beetroots. That's completely impossible because I hate beetroots. Actually, it is maybe one of the most healthy things. I don't know. It is. I'm quite sure it's healthy, but I hate it. I just completely hate it. I don't know. Maybe it was someone else or something. I think it stinks, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Just don't like it. How often do I train? What I do for my recovery, actually for the most important thing for recovery is not training, in my eyes. So I don't do a lot of what you would call active recovery, like something like if you're a strength athlete, you could just sit on a cycling ergometer and do something like that to get some active recovery. I sometimes do that in form of high rep training, stuff like that. But actually, most of the time, I'm just recovering by not training. And at the moment, my training is also on a minimum. The thing is, I'm still 120 kilos, and I still have 80% of my strength, but I'm in something which you would like. I'm retiring at the moment, so I'm not training full time, and I'm only having 1 or 2 sessions a week, which is really a minimum, but it's still enough to maintain 80% of what I had. Because I'm not doing any competitions at the moment. I'm just doing too much of that type of stuff here. Supplements. Yeah. There are some supplements which I use. The main thing is protein powder, and that's because funny thing is a lot of people think, okay, you went vegan, but you use a lot of protein powder. I haven't changed anything in my usage of protein powder because of going vegan. I have used it for 20 years throughout my whole career. And the reason why I use it is just because it's practical. Just because I'm a lot on the road and walking around, a lot in the car and everything. And it's not easy to have like 6 or 7 meals a day and to maintain the calorie level which I need. So I'm just using shakes for that. Shakes and protein bars and stuff like that. That's not the perfect solution, but it's just a practical solution because for me it's it's just impossible to do it the perfect way. And I'm not saying you need those things, like you don't need protein powder to get your calories. It's just easier. It's just easier to drink a shake than to sit down and have a decent meal. So that's one thing. And then there are some natural supplement sources, like which I like moringa, yeast, nutritional yeast. It's a good source for B complex vitamins. Yeah, and stuff like that. From time to time, I also use spirulina. So nothing special actually, but some little things. And also what I also, in most cases, I just like to get the nutrients from living food, because the thing is, we know a lot about the micronutrients and what I need, what we need, but we don't know everything. So it is not possible to simulate in a supplement simulate everything which your body needs. So that's why I think the perfect solution is always to have living food. That's a great question. The calorie intake. The thing is, I'm now 35 now, and I'm experiencing a decrease in my metabolism. So I'm not eating that much calories which I used to eat. When I went vegan in the last years of me being vegetarian, I was up to 6,000 or 7,000 calories a day, just to maintain my body weight of 150 kilos I had in that time. And now I'm 120 kilos and 4,000 calories are enough to maintain that. It sounds pretty good for someone who is eager on gaining weight, but it is really bad if you try to lose weight, I have to say, because the thing is, as I said, I'm retired now, so it's not that important for me to maintain that 120 kilos, but it happens by accident. I'm not, like, it's just not going away. What I do at the moment is I'm still maintaining 80%. That gives me the chance to have like record attempts and stuff that I just do for promotion. Just do to give the media new stuff to write about and just get the message out. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm doing a lot of promotional stuff and a lot of media stuff, and for that it's enough to maintain 80% of my strength level, because the thing is, I did a world record last year in September, it was just, I think, a week ago, before I went to the Vegfest, and I did that in Toronto, and it was a 10-meter walk of 555 kilos on my back. And that's pretty impressive, and it was also good to have a world record, because now it's in the Guinness Book of World Records and everything. So the media reacted well to that. But to get the attention of media, I don't need to set world records all the time. So if I just go on a public space and just lift around like 500 kilos, that's more than, like, I don't know, 3 times what a normal person does. So that's pretty much enough to create some attention and get them to write something and get them to give me the chance to have a meeting, to get the message out. My last meal before I work out? Yeah, I always think that it's a good idea to not get your stomach too full before working out, because the thing is, if your stomach works a lot, all your blood is going to, like, a lot of your blood is going to be bound by your digestion system, and that's something you don't want before you're going to work out. So what I try is give my body really a light source of amino acids, and that's basically a protein shake made on the basis of water and some protein powder, and that's like before training I just drink that and go for it. That's it. Okay, want to take some pictures now? Okay, if there are no questions anymore. Okay, let's go. Picture time.